Hello everyone. I'm going to record the presentation since I didn't have anyone come to the live session. So this is our agenda for the day. So when we talk about technology and e-learning, few questions we ask ourselves. Why are we discussing technology and e-learning? How comfortable are you or am I in designing with technology, in instructing? Does the learning need additional technology in the training or course? Can I learn it all in the certificate program and where I go for tutorial? All important questions which I will answer in this presentation. So, learning management system. Most of us have a learning management system. The majority that I know use Canvas, but I know there's a lot of Moodle and Blackboard as well. So the learning management system has an instructor facilitator phase, and then of course a student. So we talk about how we handle the LMS with the course design, instructional delivery, and of course the student interface. It is amazing what we sometimes assume our students know, but they don't know about the learning management system. So software. I know this is a joke, and I think almost no one has it anymore. The image on the right, the software. So we talk about software. The majority of institutions will have institution-wide software. For example, I'm using Camtasia to record this video for you. Most of the short video I record to you, I use Snagit. And I know at my current institution, the University of Maryland, and my previous institution, we have a campus-wide license. So when it's time for you to look for software, before, of course, you look into buying, check if your institution has a campus-wide license. So we talk about, and that's probably is an old, because right now we're beginning to talk about Web 4.0. But these are all the tools we got when we moved to Web 2.0. And I will be talking in details the difference between the 2.0 and the 3.0. So 2.0 is applied to the World Wide Web, obviously, but it was connecting with the information. It was receiving the information tools. You use it personally and professionally. Web 3.0 is more about, so the Web 3.0 is semantic web and the smarter web, because Web 3.0 is where you, the learner, become the creator of some of the information or some of the concept or some of the application that you use. So you might have an initial software, and the way you work with it is you now creating a new learning modules. So this is what Web 3.0. It's 3D, it's online, games, it's intelligent search engines. So it's all of these elements in play. So you're not only the receiver, as I said, but you are now the creator of some of the content that is online. This is kind of just a map going from Web 1.0 to 2.0 to 3.0. And I won't read this, but it's, what is the technology? How is teaching is done? Where are school located? In fact, for school, if anything, after COVID, it proved to us that schools can be anywhere. Office can be anywhere. So how are we dealing with Web 3.0 and higher education? The primary role of the professor probably have gone through modification, went from the professor being the sage on stage, the source of knowledge, to being a facilitator, orchestrator of collaborative knowledge creation. We're now asking students to create some of their learning. We provide the base, but they build on it. The learning activities. We do not expect, nor do they expect themselves to just sit and take notes. Right now, Learning is open, is flexible, creative, social networking, etc. So the emerging now education 4.0. So again, we just kind of still map it from 1.0, excuse me, to 2.0 to now the 4.0, which is still really emerging in essence. It's supporting by AI. You see AI, artificial intelligence everywhere. Machine learning, I know where I work, we're constantly designing courses that teaches the learner about machine learning. So uh, there is a constant morphing of the role of professor as well as the student. So what comes after 3.0 and 4.0? Notice that constant content, data, information. There is a constant, it's not a two-way information, it's not a linear, it is right now, there is a constant movement of content and learners. So notice that in here, where the machine learning, there is a two-way contact between almost every element of the learning. So now notice that where we are kind of in terms of years, where we started in Web 1.10 in 1991, and now where we are at the moment. So we ask, why is this so important? Why is it important to know about whether it's 4.0 or 3.0? We know because there's two concepts we deal with. We always, when we talk about teaching and learning, we talk about course design and course delivery. The way I look at it is course design is everything that happens before the first day of class. Delivery is the utilization of everything you put in your course as you interact with your learners. So for example, you say, and I know I've read in some of your posts, I will respond within 24 hours, and I think I commented in the discussion forum, so I can say it here out loud, that I will respond within 24 hours or less. I've reviewed courses. Part of my previous job was training faculty, and we were running actually a pilot project, not really to do with the instructor, but we were trying to see who, which of the students didn't log in, see if we can motivate them, send them an email, talk to them. And we found some faculty didn't log into the online class, completely online class, for 6 weeks. So let's take that example. Let's say that professor said, I will respond to all your inquiries between 24 to 48 hours. Okay, great. And then 6 weeks go by and there is nothing, there's no interaction. One student asked the vice president of academic affairs, sent an email and said, I don't need anything from you. My final grade was 96, but I think you need to look at this course because the faculty has it on autopilot. So the VP asked me, I was the executive director of e-learning, take a look. And I logged in and you don't see the professor at all. There is no, so there's discussion forum, and you see in the first week where the student said, help, I'm completely lost. Can someone help me? Nothing. Week 2, nothing. And so let's say there were 50 posts in week 1. There was about maybe 10, 12 in week 2, less, much less in week 3. By week 4, no one was posting because the assumption is nobody's answering. So when the VP asked, said, well, I was responding in an email. Well, how would the other students know? The other students think you haven't responded. So design everything that happens prior to day 1. All the instruction, all the video you create, all the assessment, everything. Delivery is how you then transfer this as you interact with your learners. I think we talked about this often. You will see it in several of my videos that effective assessment, as you look at assessment, that triangle, the learning objectives, the assessment, and the content. So it's learning objective, content, assessment. And notice it's constantly two-way street. One of the things I discovered once when I took years ago, as I was getting ready to start teaching this class, so I took this and I took the advanced class, and I was reviewing a class that I was teaching for years with the University of West Florida, and it was Arabic language and culture. And I discovered that as I continued to add more activities to help my students, I neglected to modify the learning objectives. As a result, there was a disalignment between the objectives and the content and the assessment. So that course forced me to go back. I put in a video as well as a document in the water cooler that kind of you can help you to color code to make sure every objective is connected to a content, is connected to an assessment. So learning outcomes. So think of the learning outcomes, kind of the goal. So the program aims is the outer circle, the pink, the overall kind of goals of the program. Then you get to the course goal, which is the purple, and then the learning outcomes, or sometimes objective and sub outcomes, which is the essence in the middle. So when we say learning outcomes, we say, what exactly do you want the learners to know or do at the end of the chapter, at the end of the unit, etc. And how will the learner demonstrate that they've actually achieved the objectives? So what do you expect them to know, do at the end of something, right? At the end of a chapter, unit, at the end of a course, and how will they demonstrate that to you? So this is kind of almost an exaggerated example. When we talk about, as an example, one way, well, where's one way? So think of learning outcomes. There is all these levels, the knowledge, comprehension, etc. Remember when, as I commented, your objectives have to be observable, and so it's measurable, observable. And always understand that measurable, it's objectively. And I always say the objective should be anybody who's familiar with your content. So another faculty who's familiar with your content should be able to evaluate and get to the exact same grade you got. So I don't teach computer programming. That would not be something wise for me to do. But let's say I do. Another computer programming instructor should be able to arrive at the same grade. So think objectively. And also writing an objectively graded or measured objectives should help you answer the question, why did I get the grade that I did? It should also help the students know, why did I get the grade that I did? So always look at Bloom's taxonomy as you begin to create these learning objectives. So integrating technology with Bloom's taxonomy. So look at all of these, so remembering, understanding. You always want to make sure that you reach some of the higher level. So you reach the 3 highest level. Some courses might not even touch at the first and second. So let's say you're teaching 4th year chemistry. It might not be, so the basic levels, I'm saying. So they might already have mastered some of these concepts, and you don't need to be testing them on. Some of the beginner level, they might not get to the creating and evaluating. They might be at the basic, the first 3 levels. So when you construct your learning outcomes, think the participant or the student. Design a phase 1 clinical trial. Did they follow all the steps in the clinical trial, on the phase 1 clinical trial. Steps make it easy for you to grade and easy for the students to know what are your expectations. And part of also as you design and evaluate your course, sometimes we think we're very clear. Back in the days when I was teaching high school, and I gave them an assignment, I thought I was very clear. And when the complaint from students and then parents came, this was a kind of upscale private school. And I went back and looked at the assignment and I thought, I don't even know exactly what I'm asking. So sometimes we think we're very clear, and that's why it helps to have someone else completely neutral who is not part of your design process to look at it and say, is it clear what I'm asking the students to do? So when you look at assessment techniques, is it synchronous or asynchronous? I used to completely have quizzes, weekly quizzes during our live session. So I tell the students, choose me in, as you respond in the chat session, just make sure you're replying to me. And that was their grade quiz. I saved all the answers. Are you doing group or individual? I know in my previous institution, they did some absolutely fabulous, or they got fabulous results on group testing. It was the health sciences department did a lot of group testing, and the grades, not only in the class, but in the state examination, jumped by several grade points. So when you consider, think of copyright. Just because it's on the web doesn't mean it's free game. Everything including image. I shared a file in the water cooler that gives you access to, or give you a link to a lot of free clip art and videos. So make sure you do. ADA, we're going to talk about, in the next few weeks about ADA accessibility. Everything now has to be accessible. So make sure that as you start designing and as you modify, that all your material is accessible. Make sure your consideration, firewalls, LMS, web browser. So this can actually prevent access. So make sure you check with your IT as you put material in your course. And I say that, all the clicky, bling, bling. I remember when PowerPoint started, I was asked to serve as a judge on a project, kind of cross several countries, on people presenting their topic. And a neurosurgeon, which the material was so fabulous, she was from Egypt, but there was so many, clickety clack in the presentation that it was so distracting. Remember when we first started PowerPoint, that you would actually see and hear each letter being typed, and it was so annoying that it absolutely took away from her message. So just because a tool or an interaction is available, it doesn't mean we have to use it all. Use some just to drive a point, but not all of it, because it takes away from your message. So on to week 5. Week 5, you're going to actually have so this is the rubric, and you're going to go post on Padlet, but then you're also going to come back to the discussion forum and post it, and that's simply to help connect it with the gradebook. I'll post this as well as the PowerPoint slide deck. If you have any question, please never hesitate to ask me, either in the help form or you can email me.